Okay, Trevor. Great job on all of these, Trevor. This set of the same subject is beautiful. So 1/1000th of a second here, capturing or stopping the motion of the water. I don't think you needed to use such a high ISO rating, and you could certainly have used a larger aperture and achieve shallower depth of field as well. Not that you have to do that, but isolating the amazing water from the background with the use of shallower depth of field might work well. Okay, but beautifully captured here, and then with the slower shutter speed, a 60th of a second. Also at f/22. Yeah, very nicely done. It's amazing what happens, the change in the appearance of the water when you change the shutter speed. Okay, so beautiful job here. Yeah, just lovely. Okay, great. And your panning images. This is fantastic. I love the sense of motion that you caught here, and also the slight sense of unbalance, of the subject trying to stabilize himself. It works really, really well. So yeah, beautiful job here on panning, and this one as well. It's difficult to capture panning vertically, or in this case at a diagonal. So you did a lovely job, and the background is just amazing. It has this really impressionistic feeling to it. So yeah, beautiful job on both of the panning images, and really nice job on the same subject. Yeah, freezing the motion here at 1/1000th of a second with what looks to be a ball, yes, midair. The ball actually was moving fast enough that even at 1/1000th of a second, it's still a little bit blurry, right? But the dog is definitely frozen. Look at its legs and paws. And then showing motion at a 40th of a second, very nicely shown here. It is very overexposed, and so I see that you were in the manual mode, and when you're in the manual mode, the light meter will tell you whether or not you're exposing correctly, but it won't fix it for you if you're not. So you need to pay attention to the light meter if you are shooting in the manual mode. So you might want to shoot in the shutter priority mode, since this assignment is concerned with shutter speeds. Then you can choose or select the shutter speed you want to use, and the camera will automatically figure out the equivalent exposures and set the appropriate aperture for you. And so theoretically, you cannot expose incorrectly. Okay. So aside from that, aside from this image being too bright, great job on the assignment, Trevor. Thank you. Okay, Yunus. So this set says it's for panning, but I do not see that you were panning. So I'd like you to reread the section on motion and then the assignment again. All right. Because this image is showing motion, so we can see the motion of the vehicle behind the subject. But panning is following the moving subject with your camera and releasing the shutter as you do so. So this is not panning, nor is this one. So both of these images are showing motion, showing the motion of these vehicles behind your subjects. Okay. So if you want to redo, that's great. I would love to see your redos. Okay. So this set for stopping and showing motion, you've stopped motion nicely here. at 1/400th of a second. And definitely in this area, we can see the water midair. Some of it is still moving pretty quickly, so that not all of the water is frozen. That's okay. I know it's very difficult, actually, to focus on a spot of this sort when it's moving, especially if you have the autofocus on. So for shots of this sort, you might want to turn the autofocus off and manually focus the lens so that the autofocus doesn't have to hunt around. Because if it can't lock onto a subject, it kind of the lens will go and you won't be able to release the shutter. Okay. This image technically does show motion. So a 30th of a second, yes, you do show the motion of the car, but you also show your own motion. So the motion of you, your body, and the camera recorded that. And I can tell that because everything is blurry. So not just the car in motion, but the subject and the light back here and the trees and so on. So I assume you were trying to show the car's motion because that's how you labeled the image. Stabilize the camera in some way so that you can just... Okay, and your third set here. So both of these images show motion. So both of them were shot at a 15th of a second and both are blurry. So up to you on how you want to handle this. I would say that this image, this first one, is more successful as an image in that it shows motion, but it's not completely blurry as this second image is. So you might want to, you could keep one of these and shoot another one that freezes motion. That's up to you. And then again, in this set, you've stopped the motion nicely. This one, it does show motion, but I wouldn't say it's that successful in terms of an image that is showing motion and just showing one thing in motion because your entire camera moved. And with the panning, they don't show panning. So if you want to redo them, that would be great. I would be delighted to see your new images. Okay, thank you, Muskan. Heather, all right, nice job overall, Heather. Yeah, this image I think works really, really well, showing the motion of the train at 1/15th of a second. Really, really nicely done. This image works well for freezing motion at 1/4000th of a second. Unfortunately, we can't really tell that the escalator was actually moving. And that's a difficult one. You know, when you freeze the motion of something like that, it looks as if it isn't moving, right? So a subject that is not normally, or how should I say, is not obviously in motion all the time. So maybe something mid-air. Or in this case, I suppose it's probably not safe to have people throw things on escalators, but you know, something captured mid-air to show that you have in fact frozen the motion, that this subject is in motion, but you have stopped the motion. And one other perhaps slightly nitpicky thing, but your frame is kind of askew, and so I would straighten it out a bit, you know, by where you are standing relative to the subject. So this one is a little more difficult because it's off on several or a couple of different trajectories, I guess. But even this, I think, helps it somewhat. Okay, up to you. But that's my take on the framing of it anyway. But very nice job on both on showing motion, stopping motion, and in this set particularly, showing motion. Both of your panning images work really nicely. I think this one really has this kind of amazing sense of motion here. Almost, I don't know, like the Terminator or something passing through the frame. It's really nicely done. The subject was moving fast enough and you panned well enough to really stop the rider's motion but show the motion of the background. This one works well, definitely, and you've certainly shown panning. It has an almost chaotic feel to it, in part because the horizon is not quite horizontal. But of the panning images, I think this one is really successful. Okay, and the same moving subject. The showing motion really works well. The globe, the blurry globe is excellent. It looks great. The frozen globe, again, kind of looks like a globe that you photographed, and we can't really tell that it was in motion. So the set works fine. You might think about redoing the stop motion to photograph a subject that is more obviously in motion and you have stopped that motion. But that's up to you. So really, really nice job overall, Heather. Thank you.